So every year this just keeps getting bigger and better, and making us there talk more and more and more. But Fingerprinting Express, one of our sponsors, you guys all have a flyer from them. They seem pretty awesome. I like them. You guys should check them out. See if this thing works. I guess you don't really have to point it at the screen, but it's probably going to do that anyway. You guys know the date today. You're a GA. Well, who am I? I'm Brianne Heinley. I am the Executive Director of Graduate Financial Services and Business Operations at the Graduate College. Maybe one of the longest titles on campus, maybe not. I don't know. So I handle everything at the Graduate College that's money related. So your GA-ships, your scholarships and fellowships, and then also the general business operations of the Graduate College, which you don't care to know about, but that's fun too. So again, thank you for coming today. I'm so glad that we had such a great turnout. It makes me feel like kind of important, not gonna lie. All you guys came to hear us tell you about all this, all the GA funness. How many of you guys are first-time GAs? Ooh. Returning GAs? Because y'all love my presentation skills. Thank you for coming back. So we're changing up orientation a little bit this year. We've changed up a lot of things in the GA program over the last year. Some of you returning GAs will know that you used to have to come to contract signing sessions and do all of this stuff that you don't have to do now. And we would have a GA orientation on a separate date, and you guys had to come to campus twice, but one of the perks of that is you got to hear our dean and our associate dean talk and give you inspiring messages and be really witty. And what I find is that deans are really funny, and I'm sorry I messed it up already. Deans are really inspiring, and associate deans are super funny. So we have our new associate dean over here, Emily Lynn. This is her first orientation with us. And I promise not to tell any of her jokes, but I am going to tell a joke from one of our but former associate deans, Kendall Hartley. And so what I'm going to try to do here for you guys today is be inspiring, a little funny, while also remaining awkward, which you'll find out is my normal self. So here's your joke. Two guys walk into a bar. Third one ducks. Thank you. How many of you guys made it to Creates today? Was that pretty awesome? So that always gets me going every year. Every time I go to Creates, I'm like, oh, I'm going back to grad school. And then I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. But what I thought was so great about UNLV Creates is that you did get to see a lot of those inspiring messages from your fellow students about finding your passions and why you're really here, and also how to get involved on campus, which I think is really important with your dual roles on campus, is to also stay involved and not be so much nose in the books and working on your GA duties all the time. But there's a lot of things going on around campus and around the area, and you should enjoy some of that as well. On to business. Boo. Some housekeeping items. Workday, you all heard of it? I like that laugh, thank you. Workday. So Workday is our new HRMS system, and that's how we process all employees into the university. In our old system, you guys would have to come see us. We'd have contract signings, you'd sign up, but now it's all done online. So sign into Workday. If you have your access already, it's your ACE ID and password. Check your inbox, make sure there's no action items for you. That's gonna be super important. If you do have access, check it out. When you get access, check it out. It's really important. That's how we're gonna help you guys get paid and all of that. Paychecks. You don't have to clock in and out as a GA. You guys work 20 hours a week. Pretty easy. If you happen to hold an additional position on campus, like as a student worker, something that you do have to clock in and out for, a little tip, when you see your name in Workday over like on this side of the screen, that side of the screen, if you're facing my way, you'll see there's a little toggle switch under your name, and it says your position. So say, Brianne, graduate assistant, or Brianne, student worker. So if you're clocking in as a student worker, just make sure you switch that toggle to your student worker position, or if it's any other type of hourly pay. That'll help you guys out a little bit. And if you happen to get to the clock system and it's not letting you add your hours in, it's probably because you're logged in as a GA, so there's another pull down where you can choose your student worker. Just a little helpful tip on there. All right. Next, I see the pizzas in the background. I got a little distracted. So again, in the old system, we had physical contract signings. You had to come listen to me or Cece and Ashlyn talk and go over all the rules and regulations of being a GA. You had to sign paperwork. It was fun for us, fun for everybody, but we don't have to do that anymore. But now we want to make sure that you guys are getting all the information that's necessary to be successful as a GA here on campus. And part of that is your handbook. Has everyone read the handbook? Yeah? Because when you checked that box accepting your GA, you said, I read the handbook and I loved it. And thank you so much for giving me all the information. But that is your go-to guide. If you have any questions about your GA-ship, about policies and procedures, how much you can work outside of your GA contract, which is how much? 10 hours, hey, with or without approval? Always with approval, that's all in your handbook. Anytime you have any types of questions like that, that's your go-to reference. If you can't find it in there, let us know. It should probably be in there. We'll get it in there for you. One of the new initiatives we came out with this year was our GA onboarding videos and quiz. Has everyone taken the onboarding video and quiz? You guys love it? Yes. Yes. So I think it's great because that's why you don't have to come onto campus, during July and August and the heat and sign a contract. Because we said, we'll put everything in a video and we'll give you guys this quiz. But if you haven't received it yet, we're going to be sending out a new batch of the quizzes and videos on Monday. So if you were just appointed, you just accepted, anytime between Wednesday last week, yeah, you'll be getting it again next week. So don't you worry, we will stay on you and make sure you guys all have it. Law room, has everyone received the law room email? Good. So that's our sexual harassment training software. So it's just really important as an employee that you guys go on, you read the information, you take the quiz with that. If you've been an employee on campus recently, it's probably not going to send it to you again, and that's okay. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And another thing that's different is I-9s. So as an employee, you have to fill out an I-9 that says, hey, I'm allowed to work and get paid here. Which is really important. And in the past, Cece, Ashlyn, and myself verified all I-9s for international GAs and new domestic GAs. So now that we're in Workday, that's a function that has gone to the department level. So if you haven't filled out an I-9 yet, I would suggest doing that ASAP. Go talk to your department, talk to the administrative assistant, talk to the business manager, talk to your grad coordinator, say, I need an I-9. It's really, really important. And if you're having trouble, contact us. We'll get you in touch with the right person. That was a lot of just on Brianne. Next, our Grad Financial Services team. I'm very lucky to get to come to work every single day with these two awesome women over here. We have Ashlyn Gray, Kathy Dyer, Cece Dyer over there. So we hire 1,000 GAs every year. 1,000 GAs, that's a lot of paperwork. So what we do for you is we process your employment contracts, we process your tuition waivers, we process health insurance waivers. Everything that involves you being a GA, getting paid, and having your tuition paid for is done by 2 people, and they're sitting right there. So let's thank them and give them a round of applause. They've been working weekends, staying late, just to make sure that everyone is taken care of, and we really appreciate that. Cece and Ashlyn do split the department loads up into colleges. So some of you might hear exclusively from Ashlyn or from Cece. Ashlyn handles, let's say, engineering, and Cece's sciences. Those are 2 of our bigger colleges. But if you email Grad Financial Services, it's going to come to all of us. So that's your best bet. If you have any questions, email gradfinancialservices@unlv.edu, and we'll try to get any questions answered for you. Water. That was your awkward moment, because you have to stay hydrated in the desert. We do have 2 more people on our team. We have Adriana. She's back there. She is the one that coordinated all of the pizzas for us, got on the phone yesterday, talked to a million different people, got us the best price, and begged and pleaded that we could have pizzas here today for you guys. So thank you to Adriana. She works with me on the business side of the graduate college, but also helps us out a lot with GAs and scholarships and fellowships. And then we have a student worker. Her name's Sarah, and I don't think she's in here, but she's awesome as well. You guys might talk to her via email, phone. And then if you have any questions for Cece and Ashlyn, they will be around later for our GA Q&A session. So maybe we'll eat some pizzas, learn about Napoleon. You guys are too young, yeah. Fast times at Ridgemont High? No? Okay. So new GA orientation. Why are you here? Because I like to talk, and I wanted to see you all. So what is a GA? GAs, you guys have unique roles on campus. You're graduate students, and that's your main focus. You're here to learn, you're here to earn that degree, but you're also an employee, and you're part of our teaching and research and professional development community. You guys here, you help contribute to the academic mission of the university, and you help UNLV reach our Tier 1 goals. And so that's, you know, a pretty big deal. And GAs are competitive. We have somewhere around 5,000, Kara, 5,000 plus grad students on campus, and there's 1,000 of you that have positions. So you should feel really lucky to be in this spot, that you guys are receiving stipends every month, and that, you know, you guys are getting your tuition paid for or assistance with your tuition, so that's really awesome. And you know what? You guys earned it, so congrats to be here. You guys wear multiple hats as graduate assistants. Like I said before, you guys are grad students, and that's your number one goal. You're here to, you know, walk across that stage in 2, 5, 7 years, maybe, and earn that degree. So that's what you want to focus on. But you're also an employee at the university. You guys do have duties and responsibilities to your department, 20 hours a week, not 30, not 40, 20, right? You guys are instructors, and you're researchers, and you are professional development GAs here on campus, and so that's kind of the two hats that you guys wear while you're here, and it's really important. So with your dual roles, there's always going to be challenges that you face, but I think there's challenges in everything that we do. So the one thing that we can do if you're facing challenges due to role conflict or role strain is that we can learn from them, right? So take each challenge and turn that into a learning opportunity. Learn more about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, the best way that you learn, time management skills, all of that good stuff. That's your inspiring message. And then also opportunities. You guys are changing from a student role into the professionals that you guys already are. So keep that in mind, that you guys are professionals and you're here and you represent the institution, and that the impact that you guys make. You guys are here making an impact on the university, on your departments, in our community. You guys are mentors to our undergraduate population that a lot of you will be teaching in your courses, and so that's really important as well in all of these dueling roles that you guys have to play. And then just one advice from me, who's never been a GA, but I think it's always good to keep in mind, is balance. So you guys are here, you're researching, you're earning your degree, you have all these competing things coming at you. Find time to do the things that you guys like to do. You know, take time for yourself, take time for your family. It doesn't have to be, is that okay to say, Emily? It doesn't have to be all books all the time, right? Have a little fun, have some relaxation. I don't know if anyone's new to Las Vegas, but Las Vegas is a great place. There's lots of stuff to do outside of the Strip. We have great hikes and things like that. We have a really nice community here. So, I forgot to tell you guys, we are going to be sending you guys some information via Rebel Mail right after this orientation, maybe sometime tonight. But if you're a teaching assistant, we want to make sure that you guys know the minimum standards for teaching evaluations, things that have to be on your syllabus, some rules and policies. And I know I'm waving papers and you guys can't see them, but you will see them. Messages from our Executive Vice President and Provost, Diane Chase, about roles and responsibility of teaching faculty. So just some important things that your department might have already gone over with you, hopefully the creation of your syllabus and things like that. But if they haven't, we're going to send that out to you. And of course, if you have any questions, talk to your supervisor, talk to your graduate coordinator, and be on the lookout for our email. One of the many things that we have that are awesome at the Graduate College is the Professional Development Academy, the PDA. I didn't name it. But what the Professional Development Academy offers is a lot of professional development and support. We have certificates in teaching and research and mentorship. We have a communication certificate. All of these things that are provided free to graduate students. You just have to come and do specific workshops throughout your time here to earn the certificate. We have resources, skills support, non-academic advising. We do graduate career support. I was poking around on their website last night, which is funny because I work at the graduate college. I'm like, this stuff is really cool. There's some links on there, like the 5 best hikes to take in Nevada or to take in Las Vegas. And so not only is there great stuff that'll help your professional career and your academic career, but also maybe some things to find that balance. Okay, so when we had GA orientation in the past, it was really long. We had a lot of people come and talk to you guys about campus resources, and then you guys heard it all again at the orientation that you guys have to come to, which is also today now. But we want to make sure that you guys get all that information, and the information is given to you and delivered to you in a relevant time. So at the former new GA orientation, we would say like, hey, you're here, you're a GA, here's all the stuff you have to put on your syllabus, and here's all these great resources, and you guys should know all of these things. And then you guys leave and you go off and you go into the classrooms, and you guys don't receive that information again. So now we're partnering with online education to use their new Canvas interface. I don't know techie words, but portal. Have you guys been onto Canvas yet? And we're gonna put up some modules for you guys on university resources and meeting a class for the first time, and office-sponsored programs and things you need to know for research, and all this good stuff that's gonna be accessible to you guys anytime you need it, not just once in your grad career lifetime when you get to hear me talk and feed you pizza. So we have a little sample video that the library's put together for us. Play that video, Ashley.
Welcome to UNLV. We hope that while you're here, you'll make use of the libraries in your role as a graduate student. Here are some of the ways that we would love to work with you. If you're working as a teaching assistant or as an instructor, library faculty can collaborate with you to design engaging research assignments for your students. We can meet with your students to introduce and practice research skills, and we can help you assess student skills in critical thinking and inquiry. We have online tutorials as well as offering these in-person instruction sessions and consultations. As you're working on your own research and possibly working as a research assistant, the libraries can provide the resources that you need. We have research resources that include traditional things such as books, databases, journals. We also have special collections and digital collections. We offer research consultations where you can work one-on-one with a library faculty member, and we have digital scholarship at UNLV where you can deposit and archive your work to make it findable and searchable in the future. For these and other resources that the library has to offer, check out the library website and don't hesitate to ask us questions.
So videos and modules like this will be part of our ongoing orientation experience, so you guys have the tools and skills necessary throughout your career, not just once. That was something, like I said, the libraries put together for us. We don't have that ready yet because Canvas had to be ready for classes and everything that's also really super important. So for now, check your Rebel mail. We're going to be sending stuff out to you. If it comes from Grad Rebel or Grad Financial Services, don't delete it. Read it. It's fun, I promise. And that is basically it for my part of the orientation for now. You guys survived. You look somewhat engaged, yeah? Soaking it all in, taking it in. We have a few guest speakers coming up. We're gonna have in a moment Phil Burns from he's the director of Office of Student Conduct. He's a great person and really important to know in your grad career as well as being a GA here on campus. We're gonna have Michelle Spacito from Title IX come speak to us about compliance, and then we're going to have a panel discussion with some current GAs, some tips, and a little Q&A, and then finally, hopefully it's pizza time, and all of you guys and Ashlyn and Cece and I can have a little chat, get to know each other, answer some questions, and have some fun. So, up next, my friend, soon to be yours, Phil Burns.
That picture just does not look like me. Huh? Okay. Some of you may have already met me in the last couple of days. I've had the chance to go around to some of the departments. And I know that I'm one of the people standing between you and that really distracting smell of pizza in the back. So I will just do some of the highlights. I always appreciate the opportunity to get in front of our students at the beginning of the year to make sure that you're just aware of some of our special resources that we have. And I'm actually wearing at least 3 hats today. I'm the Director of Student Conduct, but I'm also the chair for the Rebel Support Team, and I'm also a deputy coordinator for our Title IX and Compliance Office. So I just want to touch on some of the top resources for those. When it comes to the Office of Student Conduct, I realize that's probably one office you hope you never have to engage with. I get that. But it's really important that you are aware of the resources that our office offers, because we're not just that office that manages the student conduct code from somebody said that you committed academic misconduct, or somebody said that you violated any other part of the conduct code. That's some of what we do, and maybe sometimes the visible, the most dramatic part of what we do. But it's also really important to realize that, and while I hope this doesn't happen, sometimes things will happen to you. It could be theft. It could be somebody harassing or stalking you. It could be any number of things where something not good is happening to you, and you may not know the best conflict resolution resource to go to. Please always keep our office in mind. We are here equally for student rights as we are for student responsibilities. So while I certainly hope you don't need our resources, I'm here in my 24th year now, and I can guess a significant portion of you at some point while you're here may need to access our office just in terms of conflict resolution. It could be low level, it could be, really significant, but regardless, please remember us as a resource. Having been here 24 years, I can also promise that if we're not the office to help you get your situation resolved, I promise we'll be the second to last office, because hopefully if there's one thing I've learned in 24 years, it's how to refer, and I am very familiar with the rest of the campus. One thing I really want to touch on under the conduct code before I switch over a little bit is around academic misconduct. I also apologize, my allergies are making me cough here. Now I know that you wouldn't think that in graduate school that academic misconduct would be much of an issue. However, my statistics tell me otherwise, particularly still around plagiarism and the use of inappropriate supports. So the most important thing I can share with y'all is that, of course, by the time you get to graduate school, there's going to be an assumption that we know how to give credit where credit's due, but that isn't always the case. And if I could just real quick show of hands, who is an expert? I mean an expert on all types of citation. APA, MLA, Chicago, anybody? Right, me neither. There's always new forms of information coming to us, cool pieces of information that we want to use in our research and our academic work. The trick is, and it's a very simple process or a simple value, but sometimes we still get lost in it, and it's just we always have to remember to do our best in giving credit where credit's due. And if you don't know that skill yet, 3 simple words, maybe somebody that I gave a presentation to already could help me with this. 3 simple words, you don't have to remember anything else I say, this will serve you really well. Anyone? Kind of heard it. Ask the instructor. Couldn't be more simple, but I can't tell you how many hundreds of cases we wouldn't have to have if somebody just would make sure that, hey, if I don't quite know how to do something, I'm going to work with the instructor to make sure I know how. Very, very simple. The second one is around receiving inappropriate assistance. Every class, every academic department can do things a little bit differently in terms of what they expect out of their students. Some it's okay to work together, some it's required to work together, some not so much, or you have to work by yourself. Sometimes previous academic exams are a free game for study guides, other times they're prohibited. So just like in that undergraduate world, in some of the graduate classes, you want to make sure that when you're working with your instructor, you're really familiar with the syllabus and you're really familiar with what your instructor's expectations are of you in that class. And just please never assume, because I could do it this way over here, I can do it this way here. That's where I've seen students sometimes find themselves in, not a great situation. So just a little bit of prevention and, foreknowledge will really help you through stuff. Other than that, I think the main thing I just want to remind you of from the Office of Student Conduct side too is that should you, either as a student or as a TA if you're teaching a class, ever encounter a situation from academic misconduct or all the other things that fall under the conduct code, please don't wait until a situation gets so big that it's a case and it's definitely a violation. I'm definitely one of those guys that I like to nip things in the bud. I like to address stuff when it's really low level. If you think about, gosh, should I maybe talk to somebody about this? Should I maybe call that Phil guy? My answer would be yeah, or just stop by. I'm happy to have consultation visits to try to resolve stuff at the lowest possible level before it would have to become anything big or official. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and just talk a little bit about Title IX. Folks are familiar with that concept, Title IX, right? Heard of it? Well, I know a lot of people originally thought, well, Title IX is that thing, that federal law that made sure that all the institutions treated women's athletics equitably to men's athletics. And that really was what got a lot of the airplay when it first came into being. But probably over the last 10 to 15 years, the federal government has reminded all of us that, hey, there's a lot of other parts to Title IX, and we absolutely want to make sure that you're aware, again, as a student and as a university official when you're acting as a TA, your responsibilities around Title IX. And Title IX basically is that federal law that just prohibits any sort of discrimination based on sex, gender, or gender identification. And it covers really everything from a lower level sexual harassment, those unwelcome comments, the stupid jokes, the things that could create a hostile environment, through the ickier quid pro quo type sexual harassment, all the way up through the most severe sexual assault and rape, and kind of everything in between. So that whole spectrum of issues falls under Title IX, and it's important to know that we have a full office called the Office of Compliance that regularly deals with it and investigates it. But as one of the deputy Title IX coordinators, I'm also someone that you can come and just talk and explore a situation and again check to see how you want to do that. Now, one important thing, if you are a teaching assistant or a research assistant and somebody comes to you or you find out that somebody said that a Title IX violation occurred, particularly something that would fall under the dating violence, domestic violence, stalking, sexual assault, it must be reported. You do not have the option of not reporting it. But in that same breath, I really want to make sure you understand that if somebody comes and talks to you about that, they drive the bus on how it's reported, which means if they don't want their name used, they don't have to. You can do anonymous reporting. We can respect their privacy, respect the anonymity, hopefully get them to a support resource so they can feel more empowered to want to file a complaint down the road. But please understand that if that knowledge comes to you, it has to be reported, but it can be reported in such a way that the reporter, the victim, feels comfortable and that their privacy is respected. If there's ever any questions or concerns about that, you're always welcome to contact me or the Office of Compliance. Okay, taking off those hats. Last thing I want to talk to you about, but again, a really important thing and sometimes a difficult thing to talk about, but I'm also the chair of the university's Rebel Support Team. For those of you that might have been around here previously, it used to be called our Student of Concern program. Almost every university in the country has one now, but it's that team of folks that are put together to address issues when a student's mental or emotional or psychological health might be at concern. And it can cover, again, a huge spectrum of issues, everything from maybe some temporary lower level anxiety up through maybe conditions that have developed that even the student never had before, and just maybe at this point in their life they're developing something that's really getting in the way of their being able to succeed here. Up through some severe depression, up through attempted suicide, or actually if a student has suicided. The whole spectrum, again, of anything that would fall under that. And the fact is, we found over doing this, we've probably been doing, I think I'm in my 14th year doing this now, is that you all, by far, are our best frontline observers. Yeah, I get to see students on a certain basis. I know some of them, but for me to really say I know their baseline behavior, I know how they are day in, day out, really isn't accurate. You all get to know each other on a really different level. And particularly with a lot of classes you teach, or even in your grad cohorts, you're in a much better position to maybe realize, like, hey, this person looks like they're going through a tough time, or they're just not themselves, and you become concerned for them. Please know that you can go to the Rebel Support Team website. There still is a Student of Concern website too, just because we don't want to miss anybody until everyone knows our new name. And know that you can file a referral so we can then get some information and again, try to connect that student to the appropriate support resource. This is nothing about reporting a student for any sort of behavior, conduct, things like that. It's all about, I'm concerned about someone and I want to get them connected to the appropriate support resource. And again, a lot of people want to call and talk through those situations for us, which you're absolutely welcome to, because we want to definitely make sure that we are connecting those students as soon and as quickly as we possibly can. So a little bit of conduct, a little bit of Title IX, a little bit of Rebel Support Team. I'm around a lot. You'll probably see me a lot, but for those of you that don't know where our office is, do people know where the gorgeous new College of Hospitality is? Kind of right there by the library, big, beautiful building. I'm the little orange trailer just to the right of it, so we're really easy to find. Please never hesitate to call or visit. Welcome to UNLV. I hope you all have a really successful time here. Thank you so much.
I'm back. Just for a moment. So next up, our slide is wrong. We do have Title IX here, but we're going to have Barrett, correct? Barrett Morris, our Acting Chief Human Resources Officer and the Executive Director of Compliance, come up for a moment and talk about the Compliance Office. So welcome, Barrett.
Usually when I do these, it's like a really small crowd, and so I'm underprepared. So a quiz is coming around. So I'm Barrett Morris, I'm the Executive Director of Compliance, and I'm also the Acting Chief Human Resource Officer for the university. Michelle Sposito is actually is the Assistant Director now, not just an investigator, and she's worked with my office. So there's a quiz coming around. I want to make this engaging as it can be, given the topics that we cover. The Office of Compliance is here to protect the rights of students, faculty, and staff. So what we do is we process complaint concerns based on any protected bases that the state and federal laws cover. Does anyone know what the protected bases are? One, just any protected bases, just race. Yes, anyone know any other? I can't.
Service animal.
Service animal, yes, that would be, yeah, under disability, yes. Anyone else?
Sexual orientation.
Yes, sexual orientation, great. Anyone else? Gender, yes. Age, I heard, yes. Anyone else? Religion, wonderful. You had your hand up here. National origin, wonderful, yes. Anything else? Wonderful. Keep going, guys. Sexual orientation, identification, yes. Wonderful. Anything else? Height, no. But in some places, in some states, actually, that could be, but no, not here. What would the claim be for height? Oh, okay. Well, no, but I get where you're going with that. Anything else? Age, yes. How old? How young? Yeah, could I file a complaint against someone because I'm 27 and I believe that you want someone younger than me to be the front desk clerk? I could? You don't know. Okay. Anyone want to help him out? Yes. Who says yes and tell me why? Go ahead and stand up. You raised your hand. No? Okay. Anyone brave enough to stand behind their answer right here in the white?
Yes, because the reason for why the other person was hired is based on age and not actual qualification.
Oh, I like that, but you're wrong. Someone else. Anyone else? Take a shot at this. Yes.
Because you feel you were treated unfairly?
No. The reason is, you would be right if I would have said the age was 41 or 40. the age for age discrimination is 40. So it's only 40 and up. So you can't file an age discrimination complaint saying that you were not hired because you were too old and you're 25. Okay, because it only starts at 40. So that's the reason that it's not applicable in that situation. But if the person were over 40 or 40 years old, they could do that. As I near 40, that really frightens me that I can almost file an age discrimination complaint. But that's beside the story. Let's get to this quiz because I want to get through this really fast. Who knows what Title IX is? Anyone? Yes, right here.
Title IX is a section of some federal bylaws that was laid out to get rid of the gender bias in colleges and also protect people from sexual violence, domestic violence, and all of those types of things.
Wonderful answer. Absolutely. Title IX is a federal law that protects persons from discrimination based on sex, and which is gender. And it also covers sexual harassment, sexual assault, and that is an area. I'm the Title IX coordinator for the school, and I have Title IX deputies. You just heard from one of our deputies, Phil Burns. That's a very serious area in the work that we do, and you have a quiz in your hand, and I want to have 10 brave students come up really fast. I'm going to run out of time here to answer that quiz. So since you got Title IX right, you come up for 1, please. You with the glasses, since you said height and we're wrong, come up for 2. White shirt, you don't know what age discrimination is, you come up for 3. You're laughing too hard, come up for 4. And then volunteers, let me give a few more volunteers, or I'll just pick people randomly. Okay, Braves hat, you sat right in the front, you're going to come up, and next to him for sitting next to him and being right directly in the front. Great. And okay, you come up, one more. Wonderful. So we got to, and I'm going to run through this. I don't want to go over my time. You get like 6 minutes up here. So where are we at? I got 2 minutes left. Okay. We got 10 questions. All right. So yeah, can you give them the mic and they can go through the 10?
Who's your first victim? Or title?
Right here, Title IX. She got it right. Yes. So go ahead and read the question and tell me whether it's true or false. And then by show of hands, if you agree with her, raise your hand. If you don't raise your hand.
So the first question is whether or not Title IX includes sexual harassment, which it absolutely does.
It's absolutely true. Wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Number 2.
Question 2 says, bathrooms are included within the purview of Title IX, and I would think yes.
So true. That's correct.
Okay.
I think you just guessed. You want to give a reason why you think it's true?
Well, you have to have like bathrooms for like gender-neutral bathrooms.
Wonderful.
for
Okay, you didn't
inclusive
guess.
access.
Okay, good job.
Ooh, okay. Ooh.
Number 3, victims are never to blame for sexual assault. True.
Wonderful.
For a person's intent is a factor in determining whether they may be liable under Title IX. I'm going to go with true.
Show of hands. Okay, why did you say true?
Because
Don't give the mic unless you're sure your answer is right. Yours is not, okay?
It's not?
No.
Then I totally guessed is why.
No, but I want to hear why you say it's true, because a lot of people think that's true.
Well, it says it's a factor. It doesn't say that's the end all. I don't know.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter. I mean, if you violate the law, you violate the law. So your intent doesn't really matter in this case where you're being accused of sexually harassing or stalking someone or violating any state or federal law. The intent is not what we're looking at. We're looking at whether or not you violated the act. So that's false.
Gotcha.
Number 5, consent is generally not possible if the alleged victim was intoxicated. True.
Hands for true? You don't believe that's true? Oh, okay, you raised your hand late. I am watching people raising their hands. Okay, that's true. Thanks. Next.
Title IX applies to actions by members of the public or third parties. Honestly, I'm not sure, but I believe that's false.
Okay, who believes that's false? Raised by a show of hands. You have almost no supporters besides this guy over here with the purple shirt on. That's true. So if a person is on our campus, if a person is on our campus and or someone witnesses a violation of Title IX, they're still covered and protected underneath the statute. So that is actually true.
Employees who report Title IX violations can remain anonymous. I think it's true.
Show of hands for true. Yes, that is true. However, if you file a complaint against someone, you cannot remain anonymous. So if someone wants to file a complaint against me for a violation of anything of the areas that we cover, you can't remain anonymous because the person who the complaint is being filed against, the respondent, has a right to defend himself against the allegations. But you can make the university aware of a violation anonymously.
Employees can be disciplined for harassment when their conduct does not violate Title IX. I'm kind of on the fence with this one.
I see. But go ahead and pick one.
I would say yes.
Any supporters? Very good. Yes, the answer is true. Many of the times we go in to look into a violation of policy and procedure, we may not come away with the actual claim of Title IX, but there could be something else that's a violation of policy that we here at UNLV do not tolerate. Next. Oh, we start over.
Title IX protections extend beyond the university, classroom, and workplace. I would say that's true.
Very good, true. And the last one, you get to answer again.
Thanks. Employees have a duty to intervene if they observe conduct prohibited by Title IX, and that's true.
Show of hands. Very good, and that is true. And so how this plays in for you guys as I wrap up with this last answer, if a student comes to you with a concern, you are a mandatory reporter. So what that means is that if a student reports something to you, then you have a duty to report that to the Office of Compliance so we can look into it. So you can't keep it anonymous. You can't tell the student can't come to you and say, hey, can you please keep this between you and I? It doesn't work like that. However, you can let the student know that they control the process. So our office will never force someone to file a complaint. Our office will never force someone to give us information that they don't want to share, but we do need to reach out to that individual to make sure they receive the proper resources in the event that they have gone through something that is a protected basis and covered by the Office of Compliance. Okay, so that's a very quick version of Title IX and compliance and what we do at our office. We're located in the old hospitality building, which is right behind here in BEH on the 5th floor. If you ever need us, you can type in the Office of Compliance website and we will all come up. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Barrett. That was fun. Barrett means business. All right, next up we have a panel discussion with some current graduate assistants. So we're going to go ahead and invite the GA panel up to the stage. We have Stephanie Molina. She's a graduate research assistant in health physics, and she's also our GPSA president. You heard from her today at UNLV Creates. We have Maria Ramos. She's a top-tier graduate assistant and a student in the College of Engineering. And then we have Claudia Chang Lopez, graduate assistant in communication studies. Woo! You want to? We have Eric, GA at the Graduate College, Professional Development. He's awesome. PDGRA, he's awesome as well. Student in sociology. I didn't make this PowerPoint. I'm sorry you're not on it. Don't be mad at me. Okay. So we have a few questions that we already have set up to ask the panel here, so you guys can just, flow however you want, keeping pizza in mind, and answer, don't answer, if you guys have any burning questions you have to ask, throw a hand out. We might let you ask it. So number one, what resources have you found to be the most helpful in succeeding as a GA?
I wrote an answer for this one.
Yeah. You got the questions beforehand? Did you guys all get it?
Yes, maybe. All right,
Little
so
less
as far as the resources for your GA duties, I think there's different resources that dependent upon what types of GA duties you're doing. So for instance, I started out as a research assistant, so there's a variety of different research workshops through the Grad College and that are also sponsored by GPSA, our Graduate Professional Student Association. And those have been super, super helpful. They cover all aspects of research from starting your lit review all the way to publishing. So, and they even have a certificate in that. So that's super, super helpful. Also, there's workshops available on campus to support your teaching endeavors, as some of you will end up teaching or being a teaching assistant. So that's super helpful. And there's also workshops in the past for Web Campus, which is now Canvas. Blackboard is what we had before. And so those are also helpful because some of you will be grading for your professors. And so it's, unless you ask another peer, then it's kind of, sometimes it can be very new, the whole grading online and all that. So that type of a system, those workshops are very, very helpful for learning how to navigate those systems. But the good thing is that Canvas is really intuitive. So that won't be too bad. Lastly, also, I would mention your professor that you are working with is, of course, a major resource. You can always ask them any types of questions that you have. Depending, again, like for teaching, for instance, I found talking to my department chair was really helpful when I was teaching autonomous because he was, in particular, really focused on teaching. You'll see that some folks are more focused on teaching compared to others. And so if you find those folks, when it's time for you to teach, connect to them and they can really, really help you out. Also, of course, graduate coordinators can help you out a whole bunch. Yes.
I agree. The workshops have been really helpful for me. Somehow I forget everything that we're taught here, but the workshops really work as a reviewer. Also, just for teaching, there is a website called from UNLV that just has best teaching practices, and so they have like sample syllabi, rubrics, assignments, like ways to make them more transparent, and I found that really, really helpful and helped me feel empowered to know what I was doing. And then also just don't reinvent the wheel. See what other students have already done and see how you can adapt that to make that more like you. But yeah, it's a lot of work, so rely on other students too.
So I'm not a GA in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, which is where I belong. I actually work in the UNLV President's Office. So my biggest resource has been my boss, so your direct supervisor, like Eric mentioned. And I do a lot of data analysis and reporting, so a lot of the workshops by OIT have helped. So depending on if you guys are going to produce a lot of reports or you guys don't know Excel as well as you think you might know it, also Word, like pretty much anything that's installed on the computers, OIT can always either offer a workshop or you can call them and set up a meeting, an individual meeting.
I think that as a research assistant, the greatest resources that I've been able to use are not only the library, since there's a lot of information that I would have to look up. A lot of it's kind of left up to me rather than the PI giving me all the information. So the library is definitely a good resource. Students are also a good resource for research assistants. A lot of the time you're kind of stuck in one part of the lab, but you have to do a different kind of experiment. So there's people that you could find on campus who might have knowledge on the other aspects of your research that you're helping your PI with. Also, the Professional Development Academy has a research certificate, and through that they offer a lot of the workshops that the previous panelists have mentioned. And those are definitely useful, especially if it's your first year doing research or you're not too sure about how to go about it. They're a great resource.
Okay, thank you. How do you manage your time between your GA, academic, and personal responsibilities?
I think for me it's kind of hard. I'm kind of a night person, but I do get a lot of stuff done during that time. So I think just as long as you kind of know yourself, if you know you're not going to get anything done before noon, like I do, don't even try. Just try to work with the schedule that works best for you.
And when you have full-time studies and your work responsibilities. It is difficult, I think, for everybody. So I am also not as productive in the mornings, so I try to get my GA work out of the way in the mornings. I can show up, I set my time, and not working as a research assistant, my schedule is not as flexible. For example, I really shouldn't come in on weekends if my supervisor's not gonna be there and I can't ask him questions. But he is very flexible, so always talk to your direct supervisor. If your advisors want to meet out of the blue, I'm sure that's no problem. If you need to run an experiment and it has to get done by a certain date, that's no problem. So when you're setting your schedule, always know that there is flexibility because everybody knows you're a student. So what I do is, I work in the morning as a GA, and then I just spend the rest of my afternoon and evening in the engineering building.
I would say stay very, very organized. So it's to-do lists and calendars and all of that. That's the only way, like actually block out the time that you'll be doing things, even like readings. And then learn to do it quickly. Because I know when I started, I would take, for one class, I was doing like 9 hours of reading, and I would still go like, what? I didn't know what I read. And so I had to learn how to read like maybe secondary sources. What were they saying about this? And that helped like contextualize what I was doing. And then just for teaching also, if you're doing grading, time yourself, because if you have like 75 students and you're taking 5 minutes per paper, that's a lot of hours. So I take about 2 minutes per paper. So that's where you want to get.
I think the overall process of time management is, in fact, a process, and one that I think we're working on throughout our lives. If you talk to faculty, they're still trying to manage the various responsibilities that they have. You know, how much should they spend on research versus teaching versus service to the department, to the field. So I think it's always in flux, but we can always, fine tune it a little bit more for the particular time of the year or whatever the case is. And I should note that the beginning, if you're a teaching assistant or if you're teaching your own class, the beginning of the year and the end of the year, for me, have been the most stressful and busy times as far as your schedule. So then try to know that and plan accordingly. And that planning accordingly for that has helped me. But aside from that, overall, I think just kind of compartmentalizing tasks. So maybe like on Tuesdays and Thursdays is when I would teach my classes. And so I try to dedicate that whole day to prepping for lecture and grading after on those days. And then the other days to work on my own dissertation or classes or whatever the case is. And so that worked for me, but also you could compartmentalize it in the first part of the day, GA duties, second part, your own academic work, whatever works for you and your schedule. And again, it also kind of shifts a little bit over time. Let me see. Oh, the last thing to mention is, of course, to schedule in time for self-care. I think that's super, super important and can easily get overlooked with all the mountains of work that you all got to do. So, schedule in some time to make sure you're getting your nutrition and some physical activity or, yoga or whatever feels good to you, or some mindfulness. And also to make sure to schedule in some time to go to your doctor's appointments and things like that. I found that I sometimes get so busy during the semester that it's not until the winter break or summer break that I get to catch up on all my doctor's appointments. So yeah, schedule in some time to take care of yourself. I think it's super important to being able to withstand, to make it through the kind of marathon effort, right? Not like the sprint effort, but the long enduring effort.
Cool, keep it down there. You can shoot it back this way. Give us an example of something that you've learned as a GA along the way that you wish you would have known when you started.
You answer first. I think you've been doing it the longest. I already said this, but just, I really do rely on people who have already been there. I'm only in my second year, but if it hadn't been for the people in my first year who told me what to do, and that goes also for your assignments, because some professors will just tell you this is what I'm looking for, and it's not actually very transparent or tells you what you need to do in order to succeed. So rely on other people.
So I'm not sure if I have a really concise answer for this, but as a GA in a non-academic department, I feel like my my fellowship position is more of a job. So you're not gonna know much when you go into a job, and even though you wish you would have known all this stuff before going into the job, you just end up learning it. Something I will say is always, I wish I would have carried around a little notebook and written down people's names as they came up to me to introduce themselves, because I'm starting my third year and there are some people that I see again and I I still don't know their names. So just things like that, and knowing that you can always ask for something. Like if you can't figure it out within the first, like, I don't know, even 15 minutes seems quite long, know that you can ask. You can always ask.
So as a research assistant, most of the time you're sort of the senior researcher within your lab, the senior student researcher within your lab. And so a lot of the stuff, you get a lot of students, undergraduates who are interested in doing research, as well as some newer students coming in after your cohort. And so you kind of end up mentoring a lot of them, and that's kind of something that I didn't know initially when I started in my lab. But there definitely are resources on campus that you can use, like the Professional Development Academy again. They also offer a mentorship certificate. We have plenty of workshops that help you become a better mentor. You could always use your own advisors as a resource and other students. So I think that's kind of like what I wish I had known about being a research assistant.
Great, thank you. So we want to be aware of everyone's time. I know that Val said that we'd get everyone out of here on time, and there's still pizza to be had. So we'll ask one more question, and then we'll move on to the GA Q&A. So how do you navigate ensuring that your GA experience benefits your long-term academic and career goals?
So I guess I can start. As far as my academic goals go, I actually interviewed for my position. That's how I got it, and I already had a strong research background. So it's just getting that practice of getting raw data, making it nice. You know, you always have to make it pretty for the audience that doesn't know about data. They want to see what the data means. They don't care about the actual numbers unless they're really looking into it. So that has helped me a lot in my own research. As an undergrad, we did do lab reports, but you were writing those for an audience that already knew what you were talking about. So now that I'm writing a lot of the top tier initiative reports for the university, we get to put all of that into layman's terms. So what does this mean? Is our enrollment going up? Yes or no? Not our enrollment is at this. What does that matter, you know? And then professionally, all of the connections that I'm making, especially working in the president's office, just getting to know, I mean, being able to say hi to the president and them at least recognizing my face. Yeah, just those connections and always staying in tune to like what's going on when you're not part of academia. You know, your professors have their own jobs, but there are other people running the show for the university that are not in academic positions. So I get to see, I guess, the best and worst of both worlds.
For me, it's also been, so like teaching, right? I don't want it to just look like, it's what paid the bills. I generally like teaching, and so I do a lot of those like professional development kind of things to just show like I am invested in this, I care about this, and then also I have some pretty great student evaluations. And so that shows that I was invested in it. And then, I've already forgot what I was going to say.
Overall, I would say, as far as like research goes, to try to link up with faculty that you're interested in, saying like, oh, I like what they do. Can I try to work with them for my research assistantship? My advisor, he was really, really a great advisor, and he was even saying, yeah, I have these duties that I need to be done, but if you have like a research priority that you would like to do, if so, let me know, and we can kind of work that into the schedule and have that be part of your research assistantship. And so, yeah, just trying to work with the faculty whose research interests you and trying to work with that particular individual to maximize your opportunities is really awesome.
I remembered. So your coursework, so it's important to also do a lot of research, at least like in my field, and so that's hard to do when you're like super overwhelmed and have so much stuff going on. So just sending like basically every paper from my classes to like different conferences and stuff has been really, really important and helpful. So.
I forgot the question.
Oh, sure.
Or we could just do pizza.
Do you want to move on? Thank you, everybody, for
Somebody hit me with the time. What time is it?
pizza. 12:35, okay. If you had kids, you watch Bubble Guppies and you would say, it's time for lunch. But before it's time for lunch, we'll let you guys exit the stage. We'll bring Cece and Ashlyn up if you guys have any questions. Ashley's gonna walk around with a microphone, wave your hand, we'll answer some questions. Let's do that. Moving right along. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Feel free to remember these faces and ask them questions later. They love it. Hi. Anybody have any questions for your GA team? Huh? You're gonna stay out there, CC? Oh, Ashley has the, yep.
Hi. So we've all already registered for our classes. I know we had to do that before a certain deadline. So I've been asked to register for another course yesterday. So with our, how does that affect my waivers?
Do you know if you're extramurally funded or state funded?
State.
Great. So if you are state funded, once you enroll in that class, my UNLV will automatically run the waiver again and remove any charges that should be included in that waiver.
Yay.
If you are extramurally funded and you have recently registered for another class or added or changed anything, you have to let us know, because for extramurally funded GAs, we manually do your tuition waiver. So if you're extramurally funded and something has changed in your enrollment and you don't see that reflected in your tuition waiver, just go ahead and email us and we'll fix that for you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
She's got another question over in that area. See 2 hands go up.
I had a quick question about one of the trainings that we're required to do for the sexual harassment one. I was previously a worker on campus, where I'm sure I would have had to fill something similar out, but I still haven't received a new one for being a GA. And I was curious as to how I could get the training.
So we're still sending them out. There's a lot going on, and so we're still updating Workday and making sure all the sexual harassment trainings have gone out. If you're concerned that you haven't received it yet, you can always just email Grad Financial Services and we'll make sure you're on the list, or you don't need to be on the list. We'll let you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
We have one up.
Behind, oh, and behind you.
We're gonna make CC run all over the place.
You can ask questions from
Hello.
the pizza line.
Yeah, if you want to ask questions from the pizza line.
So I was the one that laughed a little bit about Workday. So I suppose my question then is, how's it going? Is everything going good? And I still can't get a login, and I think it's happened to a few people, so I just wanted to have a general outlook of what to expect, if an email will come first or something like that.
So thanks for asking. It's going okay. Your login is your ACE ID and password. So everyone has a login. Whether or not you can log in is the question. So we've been told that an email will be sent when you are set up. I don't know if that function is working. That's through OIT. I'm not sure. So I would just try to log in. If you're not able to log in, you can always send us an email. Because we're still working on a few new hires. I think we have about 150 to go out of 1,000. So if you think that might be you, just let us know.
Thank you.
Do you still have a question over there? Okay.
Yeah, so I have a question about the tuition waiver. So is it normal for us not to have the tuition waiver yet? Is it like too late?
It is not normal, and it is not too late. When did you enroll in classes?
So I enrolled maybe a month ago. I never got a decision letter saying to accept or decline my GA position.
Okay, so that, if you did not receive a GA offer, that would be an issue that we would have to look into. So if you want to come by after or send us an email, we can look into that further for you specifically.
Okay, so I'll see you after.
Okay, great. Cece.
Go, Cece, go.
She hasn't even got any.
Where's the hand?
Thanks. Me too.
So I do have an ACE account, and but the weird thing is that it works for some things, and then it doesn't work for others, like Workday or whatever it's called. So who do I contact about that?
So that would be OIT. But if your Workday contract has not been initiated yet, that could be why you can't log into Workday specifically.
Okay.
You can always reach out to us. Now we're, like I said, we're down to just a few left to go. So if you want to reach out to us individually, we can look at your status specifically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
You can also give OIT a call at 895-0777.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
So is it only really 20 hours, and what about trips? Like we have array trips to do experiments. How does it count to the 20 hours?
So that would be something to discuss with your supervisor. We set the minimum requirement or the maximum requirement of 20 hours a week. It's kind of up to each of your individual departments to decide how those hours are going to be broken down, when you're going to use them. So if you are going on research trips or things like that, your department should let you know how to track that in terms of your hours. So you're only getting paid for 20 hours a week. So
You should only be working 20.
exactly. If you want to get in the pizza line, you
Hi.
can.
So are we going to get a link in our email saying that this is the Workday link, or should I just Google Workday and try to see if my ACE account and password works?
Go ahead and if you actually Google UNLV Workday, it'll take you to our, I don't know if it's separate than like Workday National or anything, but it'll take you to the UNLV Workday. And yes, try to log in.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One more question, if anybody has it.
Up here.
Up in front. Here comes the mic.
Hi. So if we go over the 20-hour thing, who do we report it to?
So if you plan to work more than 20 hours, you would need prior approval to do that. So there's a request for additional employment form that would need to be completed by you, signed off by your academic department, turned into the grad college, approved by us, and then you can work the additional employment.
So I better make sure. Sorry. So I better make sure I don't go over 20. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much for coming to New GA Orientation. We hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, we're around all day. We'll be at the main orientation. Get in line, eat some pizza. Have a good rest of your day.